Today we're going to be practicing cones, and we're going to use the cone formula, if you can remember, is V equals 1/3 pi r squared times height. So if you need to write that down, go ahead and write it down, and now we're going to get to our practice. So finding the volume of a cone. Well, we just said what the formula is. V equals 1/3 pi r squared times our height. So now what we're going to do is identify each part. So my radius is going to be this 5, and my height of my cone is 9. So I'm going to take what I know and plug it in. And everything else I don't know, I'm going to bring down. And I know that 5 times 5 will give me 25. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take 1/3 and 9 and multiply them together. Meaning I'm going to cross multiply so I get 9 over 3, which is actually going to give me 3. You don't have to do this step this early, but sometimes it's nice and easy to take 1/3 of a number. So now I can easily take 25 and multiply by 3. And I get 75. And don't forget pi, which is 3.14. If I multiply 75 times 3.14, I'm going to get 235.5 centimeters cubed. It's just like our cylinder formula, except remember 3 cones can fit into 1 cylinder. That's why we have 1/3 there. Alright, let's try another one. So find the volume of this cone. Alright, I got my formula, 1/3 pi r squared times my height. And now I'm going to identify that this 3 is my r. And the height is 10. So I'm going to plug these in. Three squared, bring everything else that I don't need to deal with yet down. I know that 3 times 3 is 9. And bring down the 10. I'm actually going to combine my 1/3 and 9 again, since I did it for the last one. And I know that 9 divided by 3 is going to give me 3. And I have 10, and then I have pi. So if it said leave in terms of pi, you would just leave it as 30 pi. But in this case, I want to know what 30 times 3.14 is going to be. So volume equals, let's see, take out your calculator, 30 times 3.14, 94.2 meters cubed. Wow, pretty crazy. Now let's try a different cone. Ooh, tilted on its side. And I actually have the diameter for this one. Meaning I need to make sure I cut that 2 in half, because I'm going to be dealing with my radius, not my diameter. So if my diameter is 2, I know that radius is half of the diameter. Meaning I'm going to take 2 and cut it in half, which is going to give me 1. So my radius is 1. And my height is 7. Bring everything else down. 1 times itself is going to give me 1, and 1 times 7 gives me 7. And now I need to multiply it by that 1/3. And then again by pi. So 7 times 1/3 is going to give me 2.333, or essentially 7 divided by 3, which is going to give me 2.33 continuing, and I'm going to multiply that by 3.14 because that's what my pi is. So I'm going to leave it like that and hit multiply 3.14, and I'm going to get 7.326 all the way continuing. Now remember we talked about that this 6 is going to continue. So if we are going to write it as 7.32, if we round even to the 6, this makes it a 3, so it's still 7.3. So we have 7.33 centimeters cubed. The reason it's 0.33 again, this 6 is going to make this 2 turn into a 3, but this 3 can't make that other 3 turn into a larger number. So, alright. Now we've got a cone upside down, and that's okay because we know where our radius is and where our height is. So our height is 4 and our radius is 1. So it's going to be similar to the last one here. We're going to take 4 and divide it by 1/3. Or in the case, multiply across and divide 4 by 3. So I know 1 squared is 1 times 4 is going to give me 4. And I'm going to multiply that by 1/3. And then after that, 3.14. So if you were going to multiply a fraction and a whole number, remember there's an invisible 1 underneath every number, and you'd multiply straight across. So 4/3 I know is 1 1/3. So now I'm going to take my 4/3 and multiply it by 3.14. And let's see what my final volume is. So 4 divided by 3 times 3.14. I'm going to get 4.186 repeating. So 4.186 repeating. And if I wanted to round to the 10th place here, this 8 would make this 1 turn into a 2. So I have 4.2 meters cubed. Let's try our last few ones here. So now we have actual word problems. So remember, a good strategy to do when dealing with the word problem is to draw it out. So a cone has a base diameter, so all the way across, of 18 centimeters. The height of the cone is 20 centimeters. We need to calculate the volume and leave in terms of pi. So we're not going to multiply for our last step by 3.14. So I know my formula, V equals 1/3 pi r squared times height. And since I know my diameter, I need to find my radius, meaning I need to cut 18 in half. So if I cut it in half, each piece would be 9. So my radius is going to be 9 squared. My height is going to be 20. Bring everything else down. 9 times 9 is 81. And I need to multiply that by 20. So let's see, can 1/3 go into either 81 or 20? It actually goes into 81. So if I take 81 and multiply it essentially by 1/3, we're going to get 27. So I can definitely combine this step here, multiply by 27 by 20, and then multiply it by 3.14, which is pi. Oh wait, we don't want to multiply it, we want to leave in terms of pi. So we're just going to bring pi symbol down. And 27 times 20 is going to give us 540 pi, because it says to leave in terms of pi, centimeters cubed. Let's practice another word problem here. So a cone with a diameter of 4 inches, so diameter's all the way across, and a height of 7 inches. Find the volume of the cone in terms of pi, and then use 3.14 for pi. So we're going to have V equals 1/3 pi r squared times our height. This is our diameter, so I need to find my radius by cutting the 4 in half to get 2. So my radius is 2. My height is 7. I'm going to bring everything else down. 2 times 2 is 4. And I'm going to bring everything else down. Since I know 1/3 and 4 or 7 doesn't go into it, I'm going to combine it together. You can always save 1/3 to the last. I always like to try to at least combine it before I get all the way down to the end. 4 times 7 is 28. And then I need to multiply that by 1/3 and then leave in terms of pi. So 28 divided by 3 is going to give me 9.33333. So what I would leave it as is 28 over 3 pi inches cubed. And then we need to use 3.14 for that. So I'm going to take this number, times it by 3.14. I'm going to get 29.3 306. If we were going to round, I'd round to the nearest 10th place, meaning my final answer would just be 29.31 inches cubed. Since it told us to leave it in terms of pi, we leave it with 28 over 3 pi inches cubed. Alright, our last one here. So a cone with a radius of 4 inches is shown, and we're going to approximately figure out what the height is. So now we have 1/3 pi r squared. So now we actually know what our volume is, which is 165. So I'm going to plug that in for volume. And what else do I know? I know my radius, which is right here, which is 4 feet. So I'm going to plug in that 4 and leave the h, because that's what we're looking for. So just like a couple step equation, 4 squared is going to give me 16. I need to combine that with the 1/3. So I'm going to combine 16 by 3, and I'm going to get 5.333. So I'm actually going to leave it as a improper fraction. And pi h, bring all those down, and the 165. So now what I need to do to get rid of this, since they're all multiplied, I need to do the opposite, meaning I need to flip the fraction upside down. So I'm actually going to multiply both sides by 3 over 16. Okay, so what you get left is 30.9375, and since pi is a number, I'm going to actually divide everything by pi, so 3.14. And our height is, the pi's would cancel and you'd be left with 9.852 feet. That's our height. There we go. That's how you do it backwards.